Today is the 15th day of March. Welcome to the Daily Audio Bible. I am Brian. It's great to be here with you today. It's great to gather. It's great to exhale. It's great to just settle in for a minute. Take a breather. Allow the scriptures to speak into our lives. And so let's move into that. We're working our way through the book of Numbers right now. We've got this interesting story that's materializing. The children of Israel, just their existence is intimidating all the people around them. And they don't have a homeland, so they're wandering around and all the countries are freaked out. A couple of kings have attacked. That didn't go well. They lost. And so the children of Israel have kind of settled in some land right next to the Moabites. And so the king of Moab, his name is Balak. He's scared. And he has summoned a man named Balaam to come and curse the children of Israel. And Balaam couldn't go, but with some persuasion and God's permission, he's been allowed to go. He just can't. He can't do anything. He can only say what God tells him to say. So that's where we pick up the story. Numbers chapter 22, verse 21 through 23, verse 30. So Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the officials of Moab. God's anger was kindled because he was going, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the road as his adversary. Now he was riding on the donkey, and his two servants were with him. The donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand. So the donkey turned off the road and went into the field, and Balaam struck the donkey to turn it back onto the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyards, with a wall on either side. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it scraped against the wall and scraped Balaam's foot against the wall, so he struck it again. Then the angel of the Lord went ahead and stood in a narrow place, where there was no way to turn either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it lay down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times?" Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you have made a fool of me. I wish I had a sword in my hand. I would kill you right now." But the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey, which you have ridden all your life to this day? Have I been in the habit of treating you this way?" And he said, "No." Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed down, falling on his face. The angel of the Lord said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? I have come out as an adversary because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If it had not turned away from me, surely just now I would have killed you and let it live." Then Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned, for I did not know that you were standing in the road to oppose me. Now therefore, if it is displeasing to you, I will return home." The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but speak only what I tell you to speak." So Balaam went on with the officials of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam had come, he went out to meet him at Ir Moab, on the boundary formed by the Arnon, at the farthest point of the boundary. Balak said to Balaam, "Did I not send to summon you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not able to honor you?" Balaam said to Balak, "I have come to you now, but I do not have power to say just anything. The word God puts in my mouth, that is what I must say." Then Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath Uzoth. Balak sacrificed oxen and sheep and sent them to Balaam and to the officials who were with him. On the next day Balak took Balaam and brought him up to Bamoth Baal, and from there he could see part of the people of Israel. Then Balaam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." Balak did as Balaam had said and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, "Stay here beside your burnt offerings while I go aside. Perhaps the Lord will come to meet me. Whatever he shows me, I will tell you." And he went to a bare height. Then God met Balaam, and Balaam said to him, "I have arranged the 7 altars and have offered a bull and a ram on each altar." The Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, "Return to Balak, and this is what you must say." So he returned to Balak, who was standing beside his burnt offerings with all the officials of Moab. Then Balaam uttered his oracle, saying, "Balak has brought me from Aram, the king of Moab, from the eastern mountains. Come, curse Jacob for me. Come, denounce Israel. How can I curse whom God has not cursed? How can I denounce those whom the Lord has not denounced? For from the top of the crags I see him. From the hills I behold him. Here is a people living alone and not reckoning itself among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob or number the dust cloud of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my end be like his." Then Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies, but now you have done nothing but bless them." He answered, "Must I not take care to say what the Lord puts into my mouth?" So Balak said to him, "Come with me to another place from which you may see them. You shall see only a part of them, and shall not see them all. Then curse them for me from there." So he took him to the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah. He built 7 altars and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Stand here beside your burnt offerings, while I meet the Lord over there." The Lord met Balaam, put a word into his mouth, and said, "Return to Balak, and this is what you shall say." When he came to him, he was standing beside his burnt offerings with the officials of Moab. Balak said to him, "What has the Lord said?" Then Balaam uttered his oracle, saying, "Rise, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, O son of Zippor. God is not a human being that he should lie, or a mortal that he should change his mind. Has he promised, and will he not do it? Has he spoken, and will he not fulfill it? See, I received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot revoke it. He has not beheld misfortune in Jacob, nor has he seen trouble in Israel. The Lord their God is with them, acclaimed as a king among them. God who brings them out of Egypt is like the horns of a wild ox for them. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, no divination against Israel. Now it shall be said of Jacob and Israel, see what God has done. Look, a people rising up like a lioness and rousing itself like a lion. It does not lie down until it has eaten the prey and drunk the blood of the slain." Then Balak said to Balaam, "Do not curse them at all, and do not bless them at all." But Balaam answered Balak, "Did I not speak to you, saying, whatever the Lord says, that is what I must do?" So Balak said to Balaam, "Come now, I will take you to another place. Perhaps it will please God that you may curse them for me from there." So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, which overlooks the wasteland. Balaam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." So Balak did as Balaam had said and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Okay, so it's kind of a weird story happening in the book of Numbers. Like, King Balak sends his officials, and they promise all these riches and honor to Balaam if he would come curse the Israelites for him. And then God, at first says, no, don't go. And then they send the second entourage, and God says, you can go. And so he's going to return with Balak's officials, but there are really explicit instructions, and I guess that's the key to the story. Balaam can't go and be rewarded and honored and exalted and get riches. He must go and only speak what the Lord tells him to say. So he can go do his regular job of cursing things. He can only do one thing. And so Balaam leaves, and God's upset that he leaves. And he goes after him with this angel. And that, like, at face value, it's like a contradiction. Because God said he could go, and then God's upset that he's going. And he tries to stop him. But if we look deeper, we find clarity in this story. But then also it becomes a mirror into our own soul. God sent an angel with his sword to stand in the pathway before these people. And the only one with eyes to see was the donkey on which Balaam was riding. And so to protect itself and to protect Balaam, the donkey veers into a field. And for protecting Balaam, the donkey gets beaten. And then later, the angel stands in a narrow place in the road. There's vineyard walls. To avoid the angel, the donkey goes to the side, scrapes up Balaam's foot against the wall. And for protecting Balaam, again, the donkey gets beat. And then further on, the angel stands in the road where there's no place to go. And so the donkey just, it can't go anywhere. It just sits down beneath Balaam. Balaam beats the donkey. And then the donkey speaks. What have I done that deserves you beating me up like this 3 times? And it's so interesting because Balaam answers back. Like, he's so blinded with rage. Like, can you imagine? You got a donkey, or you got an animal, you got a dog, whatever, you spank your dog, whatever, and it starts to talk to you, you'd probably like, wait, what's going on here? Balaam's like blind with rage, so he's just talking. He's just like, you've made me look like a fool. If I had a sword, I would kill you. That is the truest thing in this story. You have made me look like a fool. And that reveals the heart of what's going on here. God has given explicit instructions. Balaam wants to look good. He's compromised. There's pride. Maybe God will let him curse these people. Maybe he will become rich and famous in the process. So rather than keeping his fear upon God, he didn't want to look a fool in front of God's enemies. Wow, friends. Think about that for a second. He was sent by God, but didn't want to look like a fool in front of God's enemies. That's a compromised place to be. That's a dangerous place to be. And we encounter these temptations and these situations in our lives all of the time. And we see the seduction, right? It's the promises of prestige. It's the promise of riches. And these things have caused human beings to compromise themselves in any way possible. So maybe we should pay attention when we get warnings from unexpected places. God used an angel and a donkey to protect his people. So he will go to great lengths to protect us, even from our own selves at times. So let's think about that today. Let's think about the gray areas that we live most of our lives in. What gray areas have we allowed pride and greed and rage or anything toxic to become part of our makeup, part of the way we see things, part of the cloudy way that we see things that brings us to places of compromise and corruption?